What's up? Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. This is the Friday Q&A. This is the free for all where you could just ask whatever questions you want, and I won't get upset. I'll answer the same ones over and over again. Tends to happen. Although speaking of upset, this is pretty crazy for some reason. Like I scheduled this session last night, and basically when I was sending out an email this morning, someone had already like pushed the thumbs down, and then it made me sad. I thought, hey, I haven't even done anything yet, and I'm just spending my free time helping people, and they've already disliked it. And then I wrote about it in the email because I sometimes a jerk, and I called it out, and I was like, man, that's crazy. Someone already like thumbs downed me. And then when I came over here, I had 10 thumbs downs already, which is crazy. And I have like my good crew here. We got Kelly, we have Hi, we have Kent, and Zach, and Furhan. We have Kat. Very cool. We have Bob and Duke, and the whole crew. Yeah. So Wesley says the email I sent out gave some geniuses a great idea. All right. And that's cool because I love any feedback, and it means probably that I irritated them in some way. And I have a very thick skin, so I'm okay with it. It is a little puzzling, but it doesn't really bother me. So it does mean they are reading my emails. And they also really pay a close attention to the channel. So I think that means I have their attention, and that means I win. All right, cool. So couple of things coming through here. So Kelly, I think you sent me an email, but it was under a different name. Let me know your questions when they come up. Hi is getting the check. So Hi launched a site, made sales super quick, like a little too fast before he had, I think it's a he, before he had all his other content. So he got rejected by Amazon. So welcome everyone. I see we're starting to generate a crowd. If you have the opportunity, hit the thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing, we have a lot of thumbs downs already. So we could maybe offset that. Actually, it doesn't even matter. All right. Kent is mentioning it's a tough crowd. And let's see. So we got a couple questions that were sent in. Zach said he made his first sale. Congratulations. That is the start of the whole thing. So that's super awesome. Let's see here. All right. Gil is on. And Wesley says, from your understanding, the thumbs down doesn't negatively affect the videos or the channel. I think that's right. I have a feeling it doesn't matter. Everything's such a black box anyway. It's hard to really tell. So, all right. I see some questions coming through, so I'm going to hop over there in a second. Got a couple of announcements to make. So if you are not on my email list and you want to get involved in the mini course coming up next week, go to nichesiteproject.com. There's a link in the description. There's a 3-part mini course, comes out Monday, July 9th, and it takes you through mindset, goal setting, and then finding your niche. It's a really good mini course to get you pumped up to start your site and or expand your site and just focus up. So the mindset thing is really important. I often get questions about motivation and how I'm able to keep working, even though, in the face of adversity and, doing boring stuff, or maybe people not liking my videos. How do I stay motivated? And part of it, I was in an interview a couple of weeks ago, and I think my answer was like caffeine and alcohol, right? So I'm self-medicating with caffeine and alcohol. You don't have to do it that way. You can take a different approach, and that's what's in the mini course. So if you're interested, sign up for that. There are a couple free on-demand workshops, one on outlining content, one on hiring writers. Both were very good. So if you're interested in getting specific training, you can go there. You just enter your email address. By the way, thanks to all the moderators. Those are the folks that have the blue names. So we have Duke and Bob and Furhan. We have, I thought there was someone else in there, but thanks to all those folks for keeping order in the chat as I'm going through my little announcements here. The big thing, everyone, I finally did the frequently asked questions section. There is a link in the description. And in fact, I've listed all the questions which I already have answered. So if we do see some of those frequently asked questions, moderators and other friends in the chat, please help me realize that I've already answered that question and I can point people towards it because I don't remember all of them. So I may end up in a situation where I just forgot that I've already answered it in the frequently asked question. And that goes, before you ask your question, I encourage you to scroll down and take a look at the frequently asked questions. And they're all there. Some of them are really short, concise answers. So if it's like, hey, I found a keyword that has, 450 searches per month. It looks like a KGR term. What should I do? That question has been asked and answered, and it's written. So you could still ask if you have some uncertainty or something like that, but a lot of the questions have indeed been asked already and answered. There's a keyword golden ratio masterclass, a few affiliate recommendations. All right. So few affiliate links there, and I get a commission if you buy through my link. I definitely appreciate it. And, if you need hosting or a new theme or something like that, there's a couple recommendations down there. In the last little announcement, do take a look at the FAQ section. I worked hard on it, and I think probably needs to be some updates and stuff like that. I'm going to continue to add to it over time. My wife and I launched our podcast. There's a couple links. We're sort of doing a soft launch just to get some feedback before we release more episodes. It's called Survive the 9 to 5. It's not about affiliate marketing specifically, but more like the corporate life and working through it. It's interesting if you like hearing me talk. That's another good way to do it. Okay, now let's see here. The questions that were sent in. We have Vanch says, is five-figure niche site, is your five-figure niche site website course still works? Yes, it does. There's actually a number of people in the chat that have enrolled in the course and have found success. Additionally, a lot of the people that are saying like, hey, I made my first dollar or something like that, they also are following some of the same principles, though maybe they weren't even in the course. All right. Kelly says, why are some of my posts KGR compliant, but nowhere to be seen after months, even though they are 3,000 words? Some were on page 1 and 2. Now they're on page 5 and beyond. Is this fixable? Yes. Almost anything is fixable. There's a couple areas to look at. Sometimes, well, first off, baseline is sometimes KGR posts don't rank that well. So it's more of a volume play. I recommend publishing at least 20 posts, and you're going to have, 5% that do exceptionally well, exceed your expectations. You're going to have about 65 to 75% that, perform average. They'll rank in the top 10 most likely. And then you'll have some other percentage that don't do well. My advice to you is for something that is doing poorly, just ignore it and focus on the stuff that's doing well. Because if you go back to the stuff that is ranking well and you add more content to that, then you'll probably get more traffic and you'll get improved rankings. So keep that in mind. Sometimes you're just not going to be able to rank. I don't know why. Probably the competition. However, if you are seeing this as a trend, Kelly, then you probably should look at your on-page SEO and see if you've made some mistake. So are you keyword stuffing? Is the content like bad grammar? Does it have bad grammar? I think that was bad grammar right there. And if you can identify like the issue on there, then you could fix it. But basically you could always like fix the rankings. Now, sometimes, a KGR term will be more competitive and you'll have to like build links to it. Not always, but sometimes, you're not going to be able to like fix it. So that's why I'm like If it's not working, don't try to fix something that's not working. All right. James says, critics are your best friend. They're very helpful. Consider their advice and critiques, but don't let them control the mood. Indeed, that is really, I actually welcome feedback. I love to get feedback. That's part of the reason, like, I'm asking for, constructive criticism on the podcast that my wife and I are working on, because we were very nervous doing it. However, James, I was going to say, the unfortunate part with the thumbs down is it's anonymous and not helpful. So especially when I got 10 of them before I even did the video. So they're not actually like giving good advice. However, I take the feedback. In fact, I just got some constructive criticism for the 5-figure niche site course. In fact, and the person sent me like a couple points that they thought I could improve on. And I'm like, let's set up a meeting. I want to talk about it. I want to look at that stuff. So definitely I welcome feedback. Thumbs down is hard feedback to get any insight from. All right. It didn't really affect my mood too much. Thank you, everyone, though, for the encouragement. All right. Alwayne is starting to monetize a ClickBank site and you're starting to get sales. Awesome. Atif's on. What's up? Subham. Zach says you're around the 4-month mark and your organic traffic is starting to pick up in the last week. Congrats. All right. Random question from Patrick. It is the random question day, so I welcome it. What camera do I use for my videos, like the table plugin video? I don't remember that one specifically, but this is what I use. It's the Canon Rebel T7i, and this is my wide angle lens here, which is an 18 or a 10 to 18 wide angle. And it has the little flip out camera here, or sorry, flip out screen so I could see myself. And yeah, it's pretty, pretty versatile overall. The big thing when I'm shooting the videos and it's like the background's blurred and it's like super sharp and everything, I'm using a 24 millimeter 2.8 lens. So that throws the background out of focus. It's really sharp. It's very small. It's a cheap lens as well. It's only like $150 or so. So compared to some other lenses, it's like light, easy to use, super sharp. Really love that lens. And the other part is lighting. So I have like a lighting kit. I'm not using it now. This is just natural. The sun shining on the blinds through a window here. But having like really like bright lighting helps a lot. So I have like I think it's about a $60 lighting kit, 800 watts, 2 of those sort of stands. And yeah, I wish I would have upgraded to that like sooner. So good question, Patrick. I like all the camera stuff. I geek out on that stuff. All right, Dennis says you already earned more than last year, which is awesome. You're in your 2nd year of affiliate sites. You're working towards your 1,000 days. Awesome. Congrats. Very cool. Yokohama says, great podcast on Nomadtopia. Appreciate it. Thanks for taking a look at it. By the way, if you didn't listen to that podcast, I was a guest. And I think a couple days ago, I mentioned it in a video, so you could check that out. Duke says your organic traffic is up 20% on your large site in June. It's the 6-month mark and you publish 40 KGR articles. That's awesome. It'll be, I think it keeps climbing up for another few months, I think. Bob asks, does an 18-word FAQ question and answer have the same weight as a 1,800-word post as far as Google ranking, assuming they are both KGR? No clue. No clue. I've never looked at two things like that, like 2 pieces of content, one being an FAQ question, another one being a post. I'm not really sure. There's too many factors involved and variables to make a good sort of assumption on that. So I would maybe, take a step back and just like, which piece of content is more helpful for the prospective searcher. That's kind of how I would look at it. All right. Then we got da, 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 da. Let's see. Josh says, Doug, do I regret spending time interviewing for a job a year ago? Let's see. Not really. I think so. About a year ago, there was a position that opened up at the university for I think it was a marketing manager position, and a lot of like salaries are like really depressed here in Bozeman because it's kind of like a resort town. It's very strange. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she mentioned that she knew someone graduating with an engineering degree, and like the starting salaries for engineers, I'm not sure what engineering, by the way, were like 45,000, which is like way less than anywhere else. So, interesting thing, the position I interviewed for was like a competitive salary. I'm not 100% sure why, but it was a pretty profitable company within MSU. And basically, I spent some time, putting together a marketing presentation, and it was like a 3 or 4 hour interview. So I will tell you that specific week, I was like, I've wasted a lot of time preparing for the interview, but it was pretty fun because it was like marketing stuff. So I essentially, all the stuff we talk about here, I put together a marketing presentation and gave like an hour presentation, which I've never done, but I knew my techniques and why I was doing like certain I guess marketing methods and stuff like that. I didn't get the job. I didn't get much feedback, although I know I actually had beers with one of the interviewers afterwards. Like not immediately after, but a couple weeks after. And a few people were pulling for me, but they hired someone with a stronger um, like content background, like a former journalist, not a marketer. All right. Good question, Josh. Going back in the archives for that. Agers is on what's up. Patrick's looking forward to the mini course. By the way, if you weren't aware, the mini course is coming out Monday, July 9th. So be sure you're on the email list. And Zach says, you're almost to the point where you're not going to have many more topics to write on your niche. When should I start a new site and let my first one grow? I guess, I mean, if you're saying that you're out of topics, then go for it. However, I would probably like maximize the income from your first site. So just because you don't have more topics to write about doesn't mean you don't have more work to do. So if you have written like the content, have you done the outreach? Have you done promotion on your site? Like if you're not getting the traffic and income yet that you feel is like maximized, then you have a lot of work to do. So I would say one of the biggest mistakes that people make is trying to start too many sites too quickly. So I would just make sure you maximize the first site. Kat says you've decided to crack on the KGR content. The plan is to have 50 posts published by the end of November and see what happens. You don't like link building more than writing. So cool. Let us know how it goes, Kat. All right. And Zach says you need to wait for your stuff to work your way up to the first page of Google. It's much better than the competitors' content. Cool. All right. So everyone say congratulations to Duke. It's the anniversary of him and his wife. So Duke's going to be jetting out. Thanks for hopping in. Congratulations, Duke. How long have you been married? 5 years. Someone already beat me to it. As we're moving on. So Zach says you'd like to jumpstart on getting out of the sandbox ASAP, considering how long it's taking you for organic traffic to grow. Okay, Zach, basically, I would recommend that you continue working on your initial site and start doing outreach and link building and stuff so that you can like start like learning that. And then your efforts will probably have a higher ROI if you work on your first site than if you start a new one. That's what I would do. Okay. Vanish says, what are my best ways to get backlinks for Amazon niche websites? Big marketers thought guest posting is dead. Is it true? What are your best strategies? My general approach is like blog commenting and then guest posting. Recently on Monday, I published a video with my friend Dave Fox, and he talked about outreach to nonprofits because it's a less crowded channel. So I would recommend those couple areas. Additionally, if you go to nichesiteproject.com, go to the Start Here section, there's a niche site process. There's a link in the description below, by the way. You can go to the SEO plan in the guest posting strategy section. There's probably, I don't remember how long those sections are, but it's probably 20 pages worth of content on those two on those two pieces. So I would recommend you go take a look at that. Sort of outlines it step by step. Guest posting seems to work fine, but I think you have to be on like the front end of like this transition. I think there's going to be a transition in the next like 18 to 24 months where, you know, sending out like tons of emails to anyone that you can get the email address from is not going to be working as well. Okay, Kelly says, regarding keyword stuffing, you always follow the Yoast keyword density. Okay, Kelly, that is your problem. Do not do that. In fact, that is a frequently asked question right there. So if you check out the frequently asked questions page, you'll see that I'm pretty sure that's one of them. You'll see that I mentioned that the Yoast SEO plugin is meant for like general usage. I hope I put this. Okay, yeah. So the on-site SEO questions, the Yoast SEO plugin tells me to use a keyword X% of the time. What should I do? Basically, don't do it. Yoast is not made for you. It's made for just general bloggers and general usage. So you've checked competitors and their keywords only appear once or twice. Do that once or twice. Don't do what Yoast tells you. It's a terrible recommendation. That is probably your issue. Change that, Kelly, and then let me know what happens. It'll like if you change it like this weekend, like go to your top posts, what you think the best posts are, fix the keyword density, and then like have Google at the Search Console fetch it and then re-index it. And in probably 2 to 3 days, you'll see the rankings move up. All right. Zach says, when would you say Ahrefs is worth a purchase? It looks so nice, especially the dead links tool. Why is the dead links tool useful for you? Okay. Ahrefs is a great tool to use. You can get like tons of insight on your organic keywords, your competitors' organic keywords, and the backlinks. The backlinks are like, it's the best database out there. So I would say you can have a look. I wouldn't recommend getting an ongoing subscription, but like I would say early on, you can get, you know, write down all the information you want to get from Ahrefs, sign up for like 1 month, knock yourself out, pull all the reports as much as you can get out of Ahrefs, and then you could cancel it, you know, hop back on in the future when you need it again. For the dead links, I don't think it's that useful, but if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I guess maybe. Kat says, what do you think about emails asking for a link exchange? Okay, so the pitch is we have several sites and would like to link to you in exchange for a link to one of ours. I would generally avoid that. I think if you were like interested and you got like 1 or 2 or a very small percentage of your overall links, it would probably be okay. But if you do that very much and you end up like sort of basically you look like you're in their network. So if they're doing that sort of thing, they're probably also maybe doing other like shady link things. So at that point, I would maybe not do it. So I basically don't do that. And Patrick has the same camera as me. So yeah, I really love it. I upgraded from a T2i and I've used Canon since 35 millimeter days. I had an A2 back in the day and a couple rebels when I first got into photography. Owen says sometimes it's good to have multiple sites. When you have a quality site, it's pretty easy to get a buyer. Yeah, and Alwyn recently sold a site. Yeah. Okay, lots of questions coming through here. All right, Atif says, how much time does it take to make a site authoritative? I mean, you could do it as quick as like 1 month, or maybe it will take you forever. All right. So it's hard to, I'm going to assume your word authoritative is just generic. So you can do it really fast if you can do a lot of outreach and get links. And I think that's what will make a site, authoritative, I think, based on your question there. And Duke mentions that Yoast is terrible as far as keyword density. It's not made for long tail keywords. It's made for short tail keywords. All right. Anthony says, hello. What's up, man? Good to have you on. And affiliate marketing and YouTube, yes or no? Totally up to you. Whatever you want to do. And let's see here. Bob says, what's my opinion on ViralLaunch for searching AMZ products for Amazon products on Amazon? I don't have an opinion. I don't know what ViralLaunch is. Anthony says, do I have an accountant? Yes, I do. When I went from a sole proprietor to a corporation, I didn't know how to transition and make sure I didn't drop something. And I hired an accountant at that point. Steven says, you used the KGR on one of your websites the other day, and you have a position number 3 in 2 weeks for 320 monthly searches. You're killing the competition. Awesome, Steven. Congratulations. Alwyn says, what plugin can I use to show updated on July on each post? No clue. I would not really worry about that. Depends on your theme. Like my particular theme, I can like insert, like I could widgetize a little area, like a text box, and then put that in the top on each post. But I'm sure there's some theme. If anyone knows in the chat, feel free to recommend one. All right. Yeah. Zach says you'll keep improving and optimizing the click-through rate and all that. Yeah, definitely do link building. All right, Anthony says, should you promote your first 10 articles or just write up 30, 40 posts and then market those? Market with your first 10, right? So you're better off starting to get traffic sooner. So don't wait. Publish your first 10 articles and then move on from there. Okay, Zach says, what's a realistic target for affiliate income for the year mark? I'll just make some assumptions really quick. Let's say you can work on your site like 5 to 7 hours per week. I would say, depending on a variety of factors, it could be about $1,000 to $5,000 in the first year. It's going to be really slow for the first 4 to 6 months, and then potentially it can grow a lot depending on how much work you do. So if you take a look at some of the keyword golden ratio success stories recently, you'll see there's a range of, income in a range of how long someone's worked on websites in general. So if you happen to have a relevant skill, like maybe you had a travel blog like Ellen did previously, she already knew how to write content and she was able to put in a lot of time. This is a success story. I think you could find a link in the description, probably for the playlist. So she had skills that could directly transfer over and she knew it could work. So she was able to put a ton of time in and hit, I think if I remember right, $3,000 within 8 months. There's a few other folks where maybe they really knew, like they were content writers previously. So they knew how to write content and just the content side of the equation. Really helpful. So it really depends. That's why the range is so huge. All right, as we're scrolling down. Kelly says, should I be doing a mix of affiliated posts and how to's and so on and so forth? Yes. Another common, frequent question. Let's see. That one is something like where is that? I can't remember. I can't remember if it's on there or if it's 50-50. Aim for 50-50. All right, Josh says, please create a guest post mini course where we can get links for free, minus the article cost. Much needed. That is on my list. Are people? Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, a comment. Let me know if you know you would get a link, just pure link building, where I only go over link building like strategies with all the templates and walk through the process. Is that something you're interested in? Would you pay $100 for it? Something like that. See, the problem with just putting out a free course is if people expect to get support from it, that takes time from me or a VA helping me answer questions. So it's very important to take that into consideration. And Josh, if you're in a hurry, there's probably like 3 blog posts on Niche Site Project that sort of walk you through that process anyway. So I'm not sure. I mean, I think the info is out there. I think. All right. As we scroll down, I'm very much behind. Zach says Wikipedia brings in traffic. Yeah, you know what? Wikipedia can definitely bring in really nice traffic, good authoritative link, even though it's no follow. Kat says, what's the best tool for checking on-page SEO like keyword density? SEO Quake, and I have a video on SEO Quake, by the way. So it's free, works on Chrome. All right. Patrick says, can I talk a bit about site indexing and mapping? Not sure if they're the same thing, and you don't know what the purpose of it is. Well, so site indexing is just like, your URLs in the Google index, right? Their database. So, and I'm not sure, I'll answer some stuff with those like jargon buzzwords in there, but if you have more specific questions, let me know, Patrick. So basically, and then the mapping, I think you mean site maps, but that's sort of like the, it's like an HTML or sorry, an XML file on your site. There's a URL for it, and it sort of lists out all the pages that should be indexed on your site. So you can submit that to Google so it has an idea of like your site mapping, basically. So it's an XML site map, and you can go and submit that. This is one of the things where like the Yoast plugin is helpful, right? So they have, it creates a specific XML. I think WordPress may do it automatically, but Yoast has a specific like XML area that you can have a look at. All right. NXO says your site's 2 weeks old and you have 10 posts. How can I increase traffic and rank your pages? So you can do some link building, right? Your site's only 2 weeks old, so it's going to take like 6 months basically for you to get significant traffic. And I recommend that you go take a look at like the SEO section of the niche site process, as well as the guest posting. So at this point, you have 10 posts. I would go out there and start blog commenting on a large scale, and then see if you can make some connections, and then pitch a guest post. And as far as why 11 dislikes, I think people don't like me. So I'm not sure. All right. Zach says the Yoast title length has been wonky lately too. Interesting. All right. Atif is asking about backlinks. Again, you asked about this the other day. If someone's able to, if you could find the like guest posting video that I've done or any of the SEO sessions, like Atif, all you have to do is search for it. That I've already done a video on it. So I don't know. Just search for it on my channel. It's there. Anthony says, why the move from an LLC to a corp? I didn't do that. I had no company at all, and then I formed corporation. And here in Montana, there's like a couple of different qualifications, but I file my taxes as an S corp, and that is how it works. And I don't know much about like everything related to that. All right. Mohammed says, is there any tool to find KGR keywords quickly? Manual work is so slow. Any recommendation? No, I mean, that's part of the magic, right? If everyone could do the research quickly, then it would not be as valuable, right? So it's harder to find the keywords. It is slow and people are lazy. So as long as you go find them, Mohammed, you should be in good shape. There are some tools or some techniques that you can sort of do it a little faster, but not really. As far as building a tool for it, I've thought about it, but number one, there's a lot of like configuration and setup that would need to be done to develop such a tool. And it would create a problem with customer support if I actually created a tool. So my recommendation is to check out the masterclass playlist. There's a link in the description, and you should be able to get a pretty good idea how to find them faster. All right. Sorba says, oh, and I think JP's on. What's up? Haven't seen you on in a while. Sorba says, what's the best way to promote an Amazon affiliate product? Write a post on it. And I think that is the best way to do it. And you can get organic traffic to the post. Pretty sure I misunderstood your question. So if you want to rephrase it, you can ask something different. Brandon says, you're rendering a video right now, which focuses on the KGR method. You hope I could check it out if I have time. Okay. I don't have much time, but maybe I'll check it out. You have a question for me. Okay. What's the question? All right. Josh says you'd pay mad loot for the course. All right. Kelly says, should I be hiring writers? Every video I watch and all my videos say hire content writers. How many posts should I be publishing a month to get good traction? Is more content key? You're at 1 to 2 posts per week. It all depends on your goals and your budget. So basically, yes, the more you publish, like the more potential you have to make money, right? There's more places people can come in. I think you have some holes in your process. So I would fix your keyword density stuff before you consider accelerating the process. So if you like automate something that isn't working, you've just like multiplied your problem in an exponential way, which is really terrible to do. So you should really have everything working properly as best you can do before you automate or do anything. So my recommendation is do not hire any writers until you have traffic, until you have like things fixed up. And the keyword density thing is something you should fix up. Now, assuming you fix that, you should basically publish as much as you can. All right. Brandon says, what's the most likely price I'm looking for fully hands-off articles from the KGR research to writing to posting? It seems like you keep getting sucked into $30 plus to make it happen. Yeah, I would say, $50 a post, something like that. You could probably do it for cheaper, but $50 a post is probably a good assumption. Marty says, you recommend Doug's course. The more time you waste, the more it'll hurt your dreams. Check it out. Take your advice. Yep. Thanks, Marty. Really appreciate that. All right. NXO says, when should I start seeing income roll in the first month, in the second? Depends on how much time you put in. But if you're doing everything properly and not making mistakes, then I would say in the first 6 weeks or so. And we're just talking like $1, right? You're just making a little bit. But if you're not able to put in, let's say you could only put in 2 hours a week or something. well, then maybe it's going to take you 4 or 6 months. That's totally okay. Like, you work at your own speed. It's not a race at all. The longer you spend working on stuff, the better you'll do. And by the way, if people have the opportunity to hit the thumbs up, I don't know if people noticed if you joined later, but before we even started the video, I angered people quite a bit. They disliked the video, 10 people before we even started today. So if you have the opportunity to hit the thumbs up, um, actually, I don't even care, but you can now. You can show those people that that you like the video. And NXO, I did a video called like first $100, a timeline for niche site like revenue or something like that. Highly recommend you take a look at that because it walks through like the first year and the milestones you might expect for income. It becomes let's see. It becomes hard. I have done so many videos, it becomes hard to remember um like all the stuff that I've done. And it's hard. I mean, I can't expect people to find all this stuff, but the thing is, most of the time, if you have a question and if you just go to the YouTube, like my YouTube channel, and type in your question in the search bar, you'll probably see like 2 to 3 videos that come pretty close to answering it. All right. Next. 24/7 says KGR method required any type of backlinks. No, not necessarily. Backlinks are better, but you don't have to use them. Atif says, where can you find a schedule of my online sessions so you know when I'm online? I recommend you hit the notification bell, and then you'll get notified when I do go live. But typically, it's most Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time or Fridays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Those are generally the time there. And Patrick, thank you, my man. Look for guest posting for niche sites, free link building strategies. Boom. That is what you want. And Zach says the mini course sold you on the full course. Awesome, Zach. I think, I owe you an email, man. I get behind. I get so many of them. And yeah, the mini course is I spent a tremendous amount of time on that. Bob says S corps are cheaper to form depending on the state, and the corporation fees are less. However, look up since it's by the state. Like for me, it didn't matter, and there were a couple little things with the type of corporation that I formed here in Montana, which may not exist in other states. Anthony says, can I break down the percentages of how my time is spent, like customer support, recording videos, live sessions, so on? You know what? I don't know the answer to those. I'm not a person that keeps track of like all my activities super close. So I'm not really sure, but I would say I probably spend, a couple hours a week on most of those things. And I guess some of the customer service comes into like email management. So I sort of, as Zach knows, right? I tend to get behind on email sometimes. So what I'll do is like, I need to schedule it better, but once a week, I need to just like slam through the emails. Sometimes I get back to people like right away, and sometimes it takes me longer depending on the urgency. But I get a ton of just random questions. So those, I've figured out how to filter those out so I can batch those in a more effective way. So I'm not really sure. My work schedule is a little interesting too. So for certain periods, I'll probably work about 4 hours a day. And, on a Friday, maybe like an hour and a half or 2 hours is spent like getting ready for this session and then answering the questions where we just talk, right? And then the weird part is like some other days, maybe I'm writing content. Like for example, when I was doing all the frequently asked questions, I don't know how many words it is total for all of them, but I spent, more time writing. I basically just like didn't check my email, didn't do anything else. I would sit down, start writing for 2 or 3 hours, answering the questions, doing research, trying not to open my email and get distracted down a rabbit hole. Um, and eventually I finished, and then I publish it, and then I can go back down to like the 4 hours. But some days, the point is, some days I may work like 8, 10, 12 hours, like if I'm really in the zone and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Okay. And Zach is talking S Corp is a tax election totally. And then, yep. All right. Sanya says, how can you pick the right keyword? So I recommend you take a look at the niche site process. There's a link in the description, but basically it depends on what your goal is. So if your goal is to create an Amazon affiliate site, I assume that that is the goal, then a great place to go look is Amazon, right? You can go to Amazon, check out products, and then start looking for product buyer type keywords like best ballpoint pen, something like that. Those are the kind of keywords you want. If you're trying to create a different kind of site, then your keyword research would be different. And maybe you would look for more how-to kind of articles. Bob as well recommends the 5-figure niche site course. Yvette says, quick question, do I no follow all my affiliate links? No, I don't worry about it too much. Google understands those are affiliate links. Technically, yeah, I think you're supposed to no follow them, but Google understands. Imran says, you found a keyword that's less competitive, but the thing is you're not the master in the topic. Should I go for it? Yes, you should go for it. My tips are check out the RPM research paper method, and it should give you some ideas. And there's a section. This is a frequently asked question, by the way, if you're just joining in. I have published the frequently asked questions section. Please have a look. All the questions are listed below, and there's a link. But there's what I'm calling permission questions. Here's one. I found a great keyword, but the search volume is blah per month. Should I go for it? The answer is always yes. If you are thinking about doing something, do it. You don't need my permission. Do it. After you do it, whether it works or not, you will know more than you did before. So it almost always works out, and there's almost no downside. All right. So at the end of the day, even if it doesn't work, you've learned something. You've learned what did not work, which is very valuable because then you can just not do that again. So if you found a keyword, go for it. Hi says, on the Google Search Console, you've added many versions to my root website. Not just the www, but the HTTP and HTTPS. Will that screw up my search results? Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. I would say as long as you have the redirects properly and like the right one registered as like the main site, you should be okay. I'm not super aware of like the impacts. So I would take a look at all the Google Search Console documentation. I have no idea. If someone knows, feel free to answer in here. Okay. And Marty says, there are several details you can find out on Doug's channel, and you need to understand a number of things to do it well. Cool. Thanks for that, Marty. And Marty will be a guest in the next week or so. Going to publish an interview I did with him. So it was really cool. Thanks, Marty, for spending the time chatting with me here. Marcus says thumbs up. Appreciate it. How are we doing on that? 39. What can you do? All right. Cool. Kelly says you'll get those issues fixed. And then thanks for the help. You've been at 3 months, and last month you got 310. This month it's 80 so far. So definitely works. Your goal is $500 per month by Christmas. And the thing is, Kelly, you did email me the other day, right? But it's like under a different name. Is that right? Basically, you're probably going to see like some pretty crazy growth like once your site gets a little bit older, because 3 months and 310 is pretty good. So Mohammed says, is it necessary to pick only those keywords having approximately 250 searches and below? No, no, it's not. I think you maybe have more context to that question, so feel free to ask more. But no, I encourage you to go after other keywords as well. But you should know the reasons why you're going for like lower keyword search volume, right? So if you're doing KGR stuff, it's going to be helpful. You're probably going to be able to rank faster. If you go for like larger search volumes, like you can still rank, but you may have to spend a lot more time on it. And it's going to take longer. There's going to be a lot more competition. So I recommend if you're starting out under 250, that's going to be better for you. All right. And Kelly is mentioning that her site was doing nothing until you started doing KGR. Awesome. Good to hear that. Oh, and Hi says, you don't say it enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome. You're welcome. Glad to help. All right. Zach says, would I recommend breaking up your huge list of best of blank for blank post with some other types of titles, or does it not matter? I'm not sure. I would probably use different titles. Otherwise, you run the risk of over using that search phrase, best blank, whatever that is. So I would really watch out for that. Ravindra says, for keywords which are phrases, do you suggest all in title with inverted quotes for estimating KGR? The answer is no. Do not do that. Not regular quotes, not inverted quotes, no quotes at all. All right. And if it sounds like you maybe need to revisit, Ravindra, the masterclass. There's a couple like key things like that I mentioned in the video. You don't use quotes, you just type it in. So don't do that. NXO, is there no way to speed up the process? Yeah, there is. Just get backlinks. If you get backlinks from big authoritative sites, then you will speed up the process. And then you say 6 months to know if your site is working or not, is not a long time. You know what? In the big scheme of things, 6 months is not that long. And you should know ahead of time. You should get a little traffic. Like if you're working on your site, you should get a little traffic. And again, I'm assuming you're following like the 5-figure niche site process. And if you're not, then it's hard to say because I'm not sure what you're working on. So if you're doing the right steps in the right order, then you should be able to, start making a little money. And Anthony says, what do I know about link juice? So link juice is sort of the idea that, you have a link from an external site going to your site, and like link juice flows to that page, and then you can potentially, link to somewhere else on your site and sort of pass that link juice along, even though you didn't get directly a link directly through to the link within your site. So that's kind of the idea of it. NXO says, should I start another website? No, you shouldn't. You should just focus on one. Here's the reason why, NXO. You're going to make mistakes, 100% guaranteed. Even if, I make mistakes, I still make mistakes, but what you don't want to do is start 2 sites and make the same mistake twice and then have to fix it twice. It's going to be really discouraging and you're going to get upset with yourself. So it's better if you just work on one site, really focus on it. And then once you get your first 6 months in, you kind of see that everything's working, you'll be better off, better equipped to launch another site after 6 months. I highly encourage you, don't even worry about it. Like maximize your one site and you'll be better off. Ravindra says, what's my view on writing mega posts on high search volume keywords? Yeah, go for it. Do it. When when it is not done with the aim of ranking the mega post itself. Yeah, go for it. Do it. Zach says, you said 6 weeks to start getting income. Where would this traffic be coming from? Partially referrals, partially organic traffic from Google. If you're using the KGR, like Kelly is mentioning, you're using the KGR, her site's 11 months old, it's past the sandbox, and then she was able to start using KGR terms in the last 3 months. And she started making money pretty quick. So she was outside the sandbox. But basically, as soon as she started publishing KGR content, she started making revenue. And I don't know if there's people still in the chat, but there are several cases where, you go out, you start publishing KGR content, you do blog commenting, people follow your link in the blog comment potentially. And then maybe you get some traffic from Google. But if you're getting, my estimate is if you're getting like 10 to 15 visitors per day, you probably are going to sell an item every 3 or 4 days, roughly. Once you start getting about 100 visitors a day on a single like commercially motivated post, a buyer's keyword kind of post, you're probably going to be making $100 a month, right? Plus or minus like 25% on that, by the way. So once you start getting like that amount of traffic to your like a single page, like I said, you're probably going to be converting like one buy per day, one item per day. Probably, depending on the price of the products and a few other variables, you may make between, 75 and $125 a month. All right. Ravindra says, should we target multiple similar KGR terms throughout the post? Totally up to you. I would not do it, but I also recommend, Ravindra, I think maybe you weren't here when I mentioned it, but I've published an FAQ section, and a lot of the questions that you ask today and in previous sessions, I've answered there. So I highly recommend you take a look at that. And the reason why I would avoid it, Ravindra, is you run the risk of like keyword stuffing if you try and put a bunch of KGR terms that are really similar in there. So just pick one and run with it. Kat says, any of you guys and gals had any problem with rankings and traffic when switching to Cloudflare? You just reversed the whole process because rankings dropped and went down like 75%. You know what? I haven't, Kat, but I've heard of people saying Cloudflare totally screwed up their rankings, and I don't know why. All right. Kelly says, oh, sorry, I missed one. NXO, how can you increase your DA and PA? At the moment, it's 1 and 0. Your site's 2 weeks old. Okay. Couple key things. I'll straight up answer your question first. So if you want to increase your DA and PA, get backlinks. So same answer of like as like the several, if you want to speed things up, get backlinks. More backlinks, you'll increase your DA and PA. You can do blog commenting. If you do, 10 blog comments a day for the next 2 months, your PA and DA will go up. However, I will tell you, don't worry about your DA and PA. Those are just vanity metrics. It sounds like you're just getting started. Don't track your PA and DA, right? Who cares, right? You want to get traffic to your site. So you should monitor like traffic to your site, what's going to impact that, your rankings. You want to increase your rankings to get traffic to your site so you can make sales. Your PA and DA is just like some metric by Moz, right? So don't worry about it. The other thing is, on a deeper level, you need to reset your expectations. Your site's only 2 weeks old, so you need to pump the brakes. This is going to take a very long time. This is going to be very difficult, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So just with that in mind, be patient. Just be patient. All right. Kelly says, I mentioned there's a course on content writing and writers where you enter your email. Could you remind me where to find it again? It is in the description. Content workshop. Yeah. So outlining and hiring writers. You'll find the links in the description. So, Kelly, you could watch those on demand at your leisure. Anthony Paul says, you're about to publish your first 10 KGR articles on your first site. You signed up to Bluehost with my affiliate link. Oh, thanks, buddy. Really appreciate that. And actually, Anthony, let me know if you're happy with like Bluehost so far. I recommended them in the past, and I've had issues with them like last year, but I've been working with the support team and some of the affiliate managers to find out like what they've done to improve. And my understanding is they've like overhauled a lot of their like support team and the way that they were working. So let me know, Anthony. Feel free to shoot me an email. Really appreciate you using my affiliate link. All right, Kat says it's all coming back from Cloudflare and the issue, but your main keyword got stuck on position 11. Any advice on pushing it up? Basically, I would say take a look, Kat, at the FAQ method as far as like adding more content. However, if you had the rankings before, most likely it's going to return. So it just needs a little time. I've seen sometimes if there's a ranking issue due to like redirects or new domains or something like that, it may take, 3 to 5 weeks for it to recover. So just keep an eye on it and consider adding more content to that page. All right. Wow, the questions are really flowing today. Zach says, when a post has a somewhat lengthy buyer's guide section along with 4 to 5 product recommendations, would I put the products first or the guide first? I would put the products first. Perhaps a bullet point list or a little table at the top where it's like you give them a chance to click on it. So you want to give them like a short list quickly that contains affiliate links. That's my recommendation. All right. Imran says, you're new to the channel and you found it yesterday. Welcome. So this is your first live session. Really appreciate it. Can I tell you in short about the KGR? Yes. So the KGR is a data-driven way to find keywords that are usually like underserved on the internet. And there's a masterclass, Imran, this is going to blow your mind. There's basically like 10 videos and it's a free playlist. So if you just scroll down, watch it after we finish up here, and it's going to change the way you look at keyword research. And basically it's the all-in title results, which is an advanced Google search string, and it's divided by the local monthly search volume, where the local monthly search volume, also the LMS, is less than 250. You have to find these keywords manually. There's no automated way to do it. So it takes a little while. It's hard work to find them, and that's part of the reason why it works. And there are, Imran, the other thing is there's a lot of success stories on my channel that sort of, you don't even have to listen to me, right? You could listen to other people. So Imran, let me know how it goes for you. And Bob says, would I post a link for the FAQs for those that don't know where to find it? Yeah. And I think, there's already a link in the description. However, I understand you get these live sessions, you're excited, you just want to ask me a question. I understand. And the theory was, we publish the FAQ section, then people won't ask the same questions again. But unfortunately, I can't blame people, right? You just showed up on my channel, like Imran here. Welcome, Imran. Everyone say hello. You just show up on my channel. You don't know anything about me. It's your first video. No need for me to act like a jerk or anything. But, I try and answer the questions. So can't blame someone for showing up and asking questions. All right. Hi says your website domain name combines multiple niches. For example, Ballpoint Pen Cave Explorer. Bad example, but you get the point. What are my thoughts on that? You felt your niche was too narrow and allows for expanding. What do I think? That is a bad example. That seems like a bad thing to do, but maybe it works for you. So I would not have done what you described. But there's many ways to do things, and I only talk about my ways, but I respect other decisions. But I definitely would not have done that. All right, and Bob says the link for the FAQ is in the description. Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is. All right, we got Zach said something. Okay, there's just a conversation going on. Cool. All right. And Zach says Human Proof Designs has a post about CRO, that's conversion rate optimization, with which advocates for a table of products. Maybe you'll try that. There's not enough traffic for an A/B test yet. Yep. Yeah. And I think like a table is a good way to just like present the links, the affiliate links, right? Get people over to Amazon. Additionally, you can summarize like the data. A table is great to summarize data in a very clear way without being confusing to read. So if you put the table there, it can make it easy for someone to compare the products and then quickly get over to Amazon, which of course is our goal. All right. NXO says, what do I think the key requirements needed for a site to be making 2000 per month? How possible really is this? And can you really make 5K from one site with 50 posts? So I had a site that I sold, and for the new people, this may be new to you. So I sold a site in a sort of a series of blog posts, right? That I covered this site called Project Go White Hat. There's a couple of videos on it. Go check it out. It's very interesting. The site was making between 10 and 32,000 per month. And when the 10,000 per month, it had a 45 posts. All right. So the answer is yes, it is possible. And then when it made 32,000, it was, retail season, Christmas time. But we also added more content. So at that point, I pumped it full of KGR content, utilized the RPM and FAQ methods, and then it jumped by 300%, $32,000 in December of 2016. My friend and I, business partner, sold the site later on. And do I think the key requirements needed for a site? Okay, what are the key requirements? Great keyword research, great content, and some backlinks. Super simple. It's always the same stuff. And you're further asking, NXO says, can you argue that Project Go White Hat is an outlier? Yes, you could. You could argue that. However, it's an outlier, but the same people are also, like, the same people involved are creating other sites that do the same thing. So the project may be an outlier, but if you can repeat it, then I think it works. So, but with respect to NXO, you could say it's an outlier, but it sounds like an excuse. So you just say, you know what? That's just an outlier. It's not going to work for other stuff, right? But it was very strategically built in a very specific way. So I think yeah, I think it works. Imran says, are the videos in the playlist or the website? It is, I believe they are actually in both areas, but the playlist there's a link in the description. It's called the Keyword Golden Ratio Masterclass. So have a look at that. Vanish says, how many articles should we publish on a newly born niche website within the month? I recommend 10 posts. What about those articles backlinks? Get them. Yes. Kat says, Human Proof Designs has a service for KGR. I have seen that, but I think they don't follow the formula specifically and they go outside the 250 range. So, and NXO, feel free to challenge more on the Project Go White Hat. All right. Kelly says, what's RPM? Research paper method. And the first link in the description, or sorry, the second link in the description, the on-demand content workshop on outlining covers the RPM. All right. And Anthony says, please add a link to the FAQ as a dropdown on the homepage. I don't know if I like those drop downs. You don't want to have too much stuff in the menu. It's so useful that you want people to find it right away, maybe even add it as its own link on the homepage. Okay, I'll take it under consideration. Anthony, I did put a link in the sidebar. Could you see that? I'm not sure if that's on all the pages or whatever. NXO says, have I seen the success replicated with myself and students? Yes. All right. Imran says, many of in YouTube is taking about Ahrefs for keyword research. Okay. You're asking about keyword research and Ahrefs. Is Ahrefs the best keyword research tool? It's up for opinion. I don't know. It's a very useful tool, Imran, but you don't need it. All right. If it's not in your budget, don't worry about it. You don't need it. Does the KGR method use any tools? Yes, it does. But they could be free tools. Cover that in the master class in the playlist. So you could use free tools to do this. Lisa says, you just joined the live stream. You'll watch the replay later. What's up with the dislikes? Also, you sent an email about consulting and you haven't heard back. Did I receive it? I will check. Funny thing, Lisa, the thing is, I ended up with like 10 dislikes before we even started. So I don't know. Got some trolls out there, which just happens from time to time. And yeah, but other people here said that they like these. And Lisa, I'm gonna double check. Where did you send the email? Just want to double check. Was it the Doug at Niche Site Project or some other email? I'll have a look. And Kelly, for the research paper method, have a look at the full session. I do a demo. All right. NXO says, what's the URL for Project Go White Hat? It is, I'll find a link for you here, but it may not work. All right. There you go. That is the information. John says, you have a KGR term ranking in the 10th position for 8 weeks with an 800-word article. Should I add more content? Yes, add more content. Do that. All right. Vanish says, what are the on-page strategies that changed in 2018, like metas? I don't know what has changed in 2018. I don't think anything, to my knowledge, nothing specifically changed. I haven't done anything different. So, but if you have a more specific question, I feel like maybe you're thinking of something, but yeah, nothing changed from this year to from last year or anything like that. That's good, Zach. I think you could be right. Cool. So Anthony says, you see it, you see the link to the FAQ, but if you want to make it more prominent, add it to the footer and the homepage. That way everyone wins. Thanks. NXO says, do I need your course to really succeed and make a profitable site? No, you don't need me or my course or anything like that. It will probably take you 3 to 5 times longer if you don't have a course. You don't need my course necessarily. There's a lot of other people out there that maybe resonate with more. There's a lot of other smart people. There's like Income School, Authority Hacker. There's a guy named Tung Tran over at Cloud Living. A lot of other courses out there. that are probably really good. So, but if you don't use a course, then it's going to take you longer and you're probably going to make more mistakes. Um, all right. Anthony says, you also notice I don't have any kind of sharing buttons. Would it be too much for you to add? Actually, this is getting into a good thing here, Anthony. So it turns out um, people don't really share that much stuff. And I know it's like the common knowledge is like, you know, people will share it on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. If they really want to share it, they'll like take the link and put it somewhere. But I had those sort of mechanisms in place. And basically, people would complain about the sharing buttons, right? And I didn't particularly like them. Also, no one was really sharing anything. So I didn't put them on. But Anthony, do you share stuff? Like, I mean, actually, let's take a little poll. Do people share things? Like, is the fact that I don't have sharing buttons keeping people from sharing content? All right. And Thomas says, what plugin do I use on Niche Site Project? The green one down in the right corner. That is, I think that is the opt-in monster plugin. Is that what you're thinking of there, Thomas? Let's see. And Steven says you recommend SSL sites along with privacy policy and terms of service. Okay, cool. Good to know. Babby says, have I used the new content performance tab on Amazon? No, but I saw that, Babby, and I didn't check it out. And Anthony says, you do share. All right, cool. Marcus says sharing buttons are useful for Pinterest. And Zach says, I never share via buttons, but you have them on all your sites. And some people do. And this is one of those things where there are endless number, there's an endless number of things to worry about. And I was just like, I don't like social. I'm not spending time on Twitter or Facebook or anything. So I just decided to not not participate. Right. So that was a conscious choice. And I'm spending time doing other stuff like answering questions here, for example. All right. Theo Tom says, you just made your first $1,000 last month and my videos helped a lot. So you want to say thanks. Keep up the good work. Awesome. Theo, you emailed me like 6 months ago, right? And you had a site that well, I can't say what it is, but trying to think of any other reference, but you emailed me before, I think. Chris says, if you suddenly acquired 40 guest post links, would you send them all directly to your money page or send half to child pages and indirect link juice? I wouldn't send them all to the money page. And I wouldn't send half of them to child pages via indirect link juice either. I would do neither of those things. I would probably send them, some to the money page, probably half to the home page, and then maybe like intersperse it throughout. Maybe not half to the money page, but less than half. Mohammed says, what should be the ratio of KGR and informational articles for a new site? All right. I'm going to recommend like 50% informational and 50% affiliate. I recommend all of them be KGR articles for you. And how much time will it take to see the results? 4 to 6 weeks. If you actively try and like do, stuff. NXO says off topic, would I be willing to openly share my YouTube income? I should. I will do that. 0. I don't run ads. Vanish says, you want to learn about anchors and keyword density in the articles. If I have any resources, please share it below. So I don't have anything specifically on keyword density, but that's probably something, I should add a little bit more on. And the anchors, I need to update my article, but what I can do, Vanish, is in the FAQ section, there's a question on the keyword density. So I recommend you look at that frequently asked question there. All right. Kelly says, when I talked about the site making 10 to 30, was it all Amazon or other services? Yeah, it was all Amazon. And Stephen says, your YouTube income is zero also. Yeah, I've thought about maybe turning on the ads just to see what would happen. I have a decent number of views, and I don't know, like, part of me is like, I want to give all this stuff away for free without running ads. And if you want to, use an affiliate link, I sure do appreciate it. If you want to buy the course, I like that even more. If you want, some one-on-one coaching, that's really, really awesome too. I do, tear downs for people where I literally, look at their site, audit it, and then give them action items, which a lot of the questions that I see here on this should be in coaching sessions. And I don't talk about it enough, but and Lisa, I just found your question here. So I'll reply back. The tricky part, I'm sorry, it took me a while to get back to you. The tricky part, since it was a holiday week, I got behind on email on Tuesday, Wednesday. So, yep, I'll reply back immediately after. And one thing that I was getting at here is basically, got a cough. Basically, if you're asking specific questions, but I can only give general answers, then it is not particularly helpful for you. So it is very hard to get a useful question if I can't go look at your site, right? You can't get a good answer. I have to make too many assumptions. So Lisa, hopefully we'll be able to connect here and see what you can do. Theo says, could disavowing website links that are bad lower your Google rankings? Yes, they can. It can. Because here's the trade-off. Theo, good question. So you can get negative SEO, bad links pointing to your site, which actually are helping you rank. All right. So if you disavow those, your rankings could go down. So it is a possibility. Generally, I mean, if you see you got bad links, I would probably disavow them and then just, work with it, with whatever you have going on. Kelly says, how many users and traffic was the site getting? You know what? I don't remember off the top of my head. Trying to remember here. I want to say we were getting 4,000 or 5,000 visitors a day during the height, but I honestly can't remember. It could have gotten up to 6,000 a day, something like that. I don't remember. It's been a while. All right. We're starting to wrap it up. Georgie's getting a little rambunctious over here. She brought in a toy. Georgie, you want to come over here? Bring your toy. She came in with this thing here. Georgie, come on. All right. Oh, and Patrick says, any new beers to report on? Trying to think if I've had anything new here recently. I can't, off the top of my head, I don't think I've had anything new, but I've really been enjoying, especially this warm summer weather. I probably mentioned this before, the New Belgium triple. I could get it very close by, on the way home from the gym or anywhere else. So I've been enjoying that quite a bit. It's out of Fort Collins. And by the way, if people are in the like northern Denver area, or sorry, the Denver area or northern Colorado area, I'm going to be around there like in early August. Like I think I can't remember the exact dates, but if you're in Denver and there's enough people, like 4 or 5 at least, I may do like a little meetup, something like that. So if you're in Denver, let me know. Kelly says, how did I drive that much traffic? It was all organic search traffic, like 90% organic search traffic. I don't know where other traffic may have shown up from. Steven says, your bro-in-law and sister live in Fort Collins. Nice. All right. Any other questions out there? All right. And by the way, sorry again, Lisa. Like I said, I totally got behind on my email and I really need to schedule more time or actually schedule a time like twice a week where I like blast through the emails. And it's just, there's a ton of them that come through. So it is difficult, but the hire me, I should definitely get on top of those, right? All right. Couple other quick announcements or a recap of the announcements. Be sure to check out the podcast my wife and I are working on. It's not about affiliate marketing specifically, but it's about like corporate life, and you can just hear us go back and forth. We've only released 3 episodes since we're like just getting started, trying to get some feedback before we like publish more, but we're enjoying it so far. And I will probably, I've talked about this a lot, I will probably do an affiliate marketing kind of podcast, just myself, and probably interview people so I could geek out. And it'll be more like these sort of conversations where I go like really deep into some topic, and then it'll be, you know, just sort of on the marketing side. But yeah, we're enjoying it. Like I said, probably a couple of times. I have all the equipment. I have like nicer microphones and stuff like that. So it was only a matter of time before we took it out. All right. Chris says you enjoyed the work-life balance episode. You just cut out of the office for summer on Friday. Awesome. Really cool. Okay. And I think we are done here. And yeah, thanks everybody that gave a thumbs up and a like. We have 47. I didn't even talk about it that much. Patrick says the audio quality is great on the podcast. Good to know. My wife did the edits. It was her first time editing audio and stuff. So it was, she's enjoyed doing it. So thanks for the feedback. NXO, thanks for joining up. And Min, sorry, I mispronounced your name there. Thanks for all the new Imran. Thanks for all the new people that hopped on. All right. Sita says, is a link building using Weebly and Tumblr considered gray hat? If you were building those properties just to do links, then yes, it would be considered gray hat. All right, that's a wrap, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thanks to the kind moderators and everyone else. If you're watching the replay, leave me a comment. Let me know that you're watching the replay. All right, see you later. Bye.